waiting for the little yellow button again. And there it is. Come on. Sometimes it takes time for that little blue box to go away, but I have Preston on the line again. This is Magic Brad with SynergyCafe and the Synergy Collaborative. I'm at a cafe right now in downtown Asheville called World Coffee. So I like being remote and being able to be a mobilepreneur. Preston, how you doing?
Good, good. So you just gave them a plug. That's kind of nice.
Oh, absolutely. They got to survive too. I like this Asheville where I live is like a tourist community. It's where the famous Biltmore Estate is, and there's weird stuff. Buskers, you know what a busker is?
No.
It's a street performer.
Oh, okay.
They're all over the place playing guitars and drumming and doing strange stuff like those robotic mannequins and all that kind of stuff. And there's a comedy tour bus that goes around and they do bizarre stuff with a nun on a high bike and just weird stuff going on.
So they got a lot of mimes there too?
There's mimes once in a while, but usually the mimes end up doing more like the statue kind of thing. They just stand still.
Yeah.
But there's some street magicians, street jugglers, a lot of musicians playing the banjo. Some people just hanging out, playing their guitar, sitting on the street with a hat out, that kind of stuff.
Well, man, we need to get cameras out there in Asheville, man. That'd be kind of cool to see.
They do have a camera here. I don't know if it's real time or not, but it's actually right upstairs. There's a place here called the Sky Bar.
Uh-huh.
I saw a big monitor they have up there, and it's pointing down over by the Grove Arcade up here. And they said somebody does have a camera, but I don't know who it's hooked to or whatever. It might be just the guys up there hooked up one of those cameras that temporarily take pictures.
Sure. Well, I'll look for it. I'll see what it is. Maybe I'll know by tomorrow.
Yeah, if you Google, you probably find Asheville Sky Bar webcam. Maybe you'll find it.
Yeah. Well, Sky Bar and Sky kind of go hand in hand then, it looks like. So, no, I was, when you're talking about the mimes and the performers and stuff, I remember seeing a show recently with my son. It's called Brain Games. It just talks about how we perceive things, and they were doing fight and flight response. And an actor that actually dressed up as a, what are those, griffins, that stand on buildings, like you saw, like in Spider-Man, where you have this griffin. Well, they had this actor basically painted in gray, and he was just standing there and just his eyes closed and nothing was happening. And then when tourists came by, he would be alive, and people would either be happy and obviously scared and run. But then there's some people that was like, okay, come on, I'm going to fight you, So it was kind of fun to watch that.
That's exactly what they have here. They've got one lady that paints herself all silver, and her dress is all silver, and her hat's all silver, and she's got a snare drum, and she's just frozen.
Yeah.
And then when somebody puts money in her bucket, she stands up and she starts drumming for a little while. And there's another guy that's a fly fisherman. He's all brown, like a brown bronze statue. And he just stands there with his fly rod until somebody puts some money in his little bucket. And then he pretends like he's casting his little fly rod. There's another guy here. I call him the anti-gravity guy. And he's leaning backwards. I don't know how he's doing it. Well, I do know how he does it, but I don't want to tell.
Of course.
But he's at an angle, and if I've got it on one of my blogs, I think my Magic Brad Entertainment blog, and you'll find it if you just look at like Anti-Gravity Man, I think is what Asheville Anti-Gravity Man. You'd find him on the internet.
Huh, that's funny. Yeah, there's some cool things. I mean, for tourists, it's nice to be able to go to a place and be able to see other things besides what is actually built there. Like the Biltmore Estate would be awesome to see, but then after you're done, what do you do? So you were talking a little bit before we started the show about timeshares, and obviously timeshares is a big deal. It's a vacation thing that happens, especially if you go to like Orlando. I mean, that's the only way to get some tickets is to basically go through a timeshare presentation and then be able to go to the Orlando parks. And a lot of people do it because they're like, shoot, I can get a discount on the tickets. I'm going to do this,
Well, I've known some people that have
But
owned timeshares, and some people are happy with them, and then others that aren't so happy with them because they are the salespeople. Sometimes are kind of high pressure, and some
oh
people
yeah,
don't like that. They end up buying the thing and didn't really want it, but they got it because of the high pressure. And I mean, it is sometimes there is good opportunities for that, but there's other times when those things are empty, and there's ways of renting those places without having to buy them.
right. Well, I have a friend of mine that actually can take used timeshares and be able to sell them at usually the price that they paid for them. So that's a pretty good deal to be able to take your inventory that you don't want anymore and be able to sell it. And I think she works with RCI, and you said another one called Crown Resort or Crown Marketing or something like that. Another firm that does
Gold Crown Resorts.
Gold Crown, yeah. But you know, it's one of those things that people want to be able to do, you know, to stay somewhere in a beautiful location once a week or twice a week. The problem that I've seen is that the times that you want to go are always blacked out, so you can never go during those times.
There's that, because usually people have peak time when the kids are out of school and stuff like that. But so it's usually the challenge with most people that are looking to vacation and travel is their time broke. They can't afford to take the time off. Even I know a lot of people, they have jobs that have time off, but they don't go anywhere because they can't really afford to. They got to fix the yard up and things like that. That's a challenge with a lot of people. They're time broke.
Well, I think too that you got the schedules of kids too. If you have kids, you know, like for instance, like in the U.S. and like where my son is right now here at school in Honduras, they have the U.S. type time zone. So that means basically they're out in June and then they come back in September. So you got that 3 months that you can vacation, right? Because you want to take your whole family, not just yourself and your wife. Although you also want to do that too, probably. But what the fact is that here in Honduras, most of the kids actually have off November and December and not during the summer. So you have, you know, kind of a mix of different things. So when you look at world travel, it must be totally different. You know, we always think about the U.S. travel, but so many people, like we've done studies on our cameras, most of the people that are coming to Roatan and other places are from the Europe area. And that's a good thing because Europe right now, their dollar is a lot stronger than the US dollar, you know, and same thing with Japan and other places. So if you look at that, and especially if you have a hotel, if you have a resort, if you have an attraction, you know, you want to reach out to people way beyond the US borders. And there's a lot of people out there.
And well in advance too, because people are planning. I'm assuming when they're planning, they're looking at weather conditions, whether it's the rainy season or the dry season, and then with the children and going to school and things of that sort. And then when can you get time off of your job if you're employed by someone else? So there's a lot of things that people have to think about. And I think from a marketing standpoint, resort owners and restaurateurs in a tourist area, they have to think about those kind of things. So they can plan ahead for it, for their advertising and their marketing.
Well, not only that, but, you know, like what we're finding out, and you pointed it out actually just recently when I saw the video of, you know, free diving. Free diving is a big deal here in Roatan. I didn't even know that until I watched the video. And it was interesting because they only started it 2 years ago. But now it's kind of becoming the staple, and it actually happened in May. I wish I would have known that, because then I could probably had a camera there to see all the boats coming in and everybody diving in. Can't see underwater yet, but it was interesting to see, because I don't free dive, but like when my son and I are in a pool, he goes, "Well, how long can you hold your breath, Daddy?" And I'm like, "I don't know." So I was able to hold it for like 1.5 minutes, and I was like surprised that these guys like hold their breath for like 4 minutes and go down like 400 feet. I'm like, whoa, that's way too much. Talk about mental capacity, you know.
That's dangerous, but that's what they like to do. And when there's a big competition or something like that coming to town, I think resorts got to know about that kind of thing. Like just the other day here in Asheville, which is a tourist town, there was a lot of people here, and I noticed a lot of the vendors weren't out because they were probably thinking it's just another day. But what you have to do in advance is kind of check out the convention calendar and see what kind of conventions are coming to town. There might be a Lions Club or something coming to town, and you need to know that so you can plan for it. But a lot of people, I think they kind of just go with the wind and hope that it all averages out over the year, you know?
Yeah. Well, like what I saw too on my comments on, you know, the Skyline webcams, especially for the one that we were talking about, is there was the same people kind of coming in and checking it out, like, you know, anywhere between 6 months, 3 to 6 months before they actually booked a place in Roatan. But it was interesting because everybody that was there or has been there kind of commented and said, "Oh, you have to be here. This is a beautiful place," you know. And then when they came there, they really enjoyed it, and then they shared it with their friends. So that's viral. That's organic. That's the type of thing that a lot of resorts and places need, because they need to fill in their you know, locations during their season.
It's also real time and real human engagement, because those people are actually inquiring about a specific venue, and and this is happening on a platform they're probably not on. They might be busy working in the kitchen with the cooks and stuff, or they might be farting around on Facebook, and they don't realize that on this blog messaging platform, people are actually talking about coming to their venue.
Exactly.
And same thing with like we talk about the timeshares kind of thing. There's a lot of timeshares in and around Asheville here, and sometimes they're empty. And if people would just get engaging on the human engagement, they might get a person to say, "Oh, you're open next month. I think I'll come down."
Exactly. And what a lot of resort owners have to do too, especially, you know, if they're paying for their you know, Travelocity and all the other stuff to be able to bring in reviews. I just saw an article recently about it, that you need to make sure those reviews are solid, that they're not negative, and if they are negative, you need to basically go back to them and, you know, try to get them into a more of a natural state. And that you know, the thing is the owners don't have a lot of time. So either they do it or they hire somebody that is part of their staff and knows about the location better than an intern, let's say, and be able to address that, because that interactivity is what brings people in. It means that you really care about that individual, and not you're just a number coming to my resort.
Well, not only you have to look out for negative reviews, but you got to look at superficial reviews that aren't real genuine. There are some organizations that pay people to go and do reviews, and they're not genuine reviews.
Yeah.
So you need to look at that kind of stuff. You can kind of feel it out, and you can kind of get a vibe of if something's phony or not.
Well, you've even talked about that too, that some resort owners get into this mode of, well, I need a whole bunch of likes and I need a whole bunch of followers and stuff, and they hire people that basically give them all of that, but it's all fake stuff. So it's like, it's not real people. It's you know, bad accounts. I mean, even Facebook, and they say, geez, we got a lot of fake accounts here. We need to somehow get rid of them. You
know? Absolutely. That's what I say. Likes don't pay the bills.
Exactly.
All those likes, people just start getting click happy on those social medias. So the best is to actually do this video engagement where you see us talking, and you know, we're still working at trying to get more people interested in what we're doing here. So we're welcoming and inviting people to come on to the Hangouts and start talking. And I'm open to marketers if people want to talk about marketing for the tourism, travel, and hospitality, or if there's restaurant owners, resort owners, tour operators, or even if there's fellow travelers that might want to talk about how do they find out about things. So
there you go.
Get a feedback from them. So I'm open to chatting with anybody on this, and we are trying to do these things on a regular basis so that people are open and available to it.
Exactly. I mean, the nice thing about this is an open type forum. I mean, there's no right or wrong questions. We're not going to put you on the spot, so to speak. So if you want to be part of this, we'd love to have you.
And also, we don't like to take too much time. We've been on for about 15 minutes now, so I want to shut this down so it doesn't take people too much time. But we'll be back probably tomorrow, and we can talk further. So if you hear about this today, check us out tomorrow.
There you go. Have a good day, guys.
Okay, peace.